Okay, so in this video, we're going to look at equations with unknowns on both sides of the equal sign. So you can see in this equation here, we have 2c plus 2 equals c plus 8. So we've got the variable here, or the unknown value c, on both sides of the equation. So our first step when we solve something like this is we want to just have the variable on one side of the equation, because that's going to make it a lot easier for us. So what I would recommend doing first is take a look at the coefficients of both of the variables. So in this case, the coefficient of c is 2, and in this one, the coefficient of c is 1, okay? And take the one with the smallest coefficient. So in this case, that would be this one here, just 1c, okay, because 1 is smaller than 2. And we want to take that away from both sides of the equation. So I want to take away c from that side, and I want to take away c from that side. So what happens then is when I take away c from this side, I've got 2c minus c, just leaves me with 1c, and then I still have this plus 2 on the left. And then c minus c, that's just 0. So all I'm left with is 8. And look, I've got a nice simple equation. So I've dealt with the variable on one side so that I've just got an equation that I know how to solve. So c plus 2 is equal to 8. I know now that I just need to take away 2 from each side. And that gives me c is equal to 8 minus 2, which is 6. Okay? And we can check by substituting c equals 6 into our equation. So 2c plus 2 equals c plus 8. If c is equal to 6, I'm going to substitute 6 in every time I see a c. So this becomes 6 plus 8 on this side. 2 times 6 is 12, plus 2 is equal to 6 plus 8 is 14, and then 12 plus 2 is 14. And so I've got now the left-hand side of the equation equal to the right-hand side, so that means I've done that correctly. Okay, for the rest of them, we're not going to go through the check bit, but I would expect that you're doing this when you do your exercises to make sure you've got the right answer. Okay, let's look at example 2. This time I've got 8k plus 5 is equal to 10k minus 7. So remember, step 1 is to look at the coefficient, or the number, beside each of those variables. So I've got 8k's here, and I've got 10k's here. Now 8 is smaller than 10, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take away 8k from both sides. Now when I take away 8k from this side, 8k minus 8k is 0, so I'm just left with 5 is equal to 10k minus 8k gives me 2k minus 7. Okay, now if it helps you here, sometimes people prefer to have the variable on the left-hand side, so you can swap the equation around just like this. So all I've done is written I've just flipped over each of the each side of the equation. Okay, and now I'm going to solve like I normally would. 2k minus 7 is equal to 5, so I'm going to add 7 to both sides. On the left-hand side, I'm just left with 2k. And on the right-hand side, 5 plus 7 is equal to 12. And then divide each side by 2 to work out what k is. So in this case, we get k is equal to 6. Okay? One last example, and we're going to look at this one because we've got a negative value here, negative 2y, so we need to look at that really, really closely. Okay, this equation is 4 minus 2y is equal to 3y plus 5. So again, first step, take a look at the coefficients of y. In this case, the coefficient is minus 2, okay? It's really important that you remember that the sign to the left is the sign that goes with the coefficient. In this case, the coefficient of y is 3, so minus 2 is smaller than 3, so we're going to deal with this one here. Now because it's minus 2, I'm just going to get rid of that. Because it's minus 2, in order to get rid of it on that side, we have to do the opposite. We do our inverse operation. So we're going to add 2y to both sides this time. So I'm going to add 2y here and add 2y there. Because if I have minus 2y and I add 2y to that, that just gives me 0. So those cancel out, and I'm just left with this 4 on the left side of the equation. So I've got 4 is equal to 3y plus 2y, which is 5y, and then I still have that plus 5 here. Okay, and again, I'm going to swap around the equation so that I've got my unknown on the left-hand side. It's just a bit easier sometimes to look at. Now I've got 5y plus 5 is equal to 4, so I can subtract 5 from both sides. So that leaves me with, so that's just 0, so that leaves me with 5y is equal to 4 minus 5. So 4 minus 5 is minus 1. And then what I'm going to do is divide both sides by 5, okay? And it's important that you show this division by 5 here because, look, this is just a fraction, negative 1/5. So I'm just going to leave that as a fraction, negative 1/5. You don't need to turn it into a decimal, okay? You can just leave it as a fraction. It's much easier that way, okay? So that's those are the 3 examples for this unit. So you can go on now to the work from this chapter.